So here at Deer Park, we're very aware that many of us are suffering around the situation of the climate crisis. When we look at Mother Earth within us and around us, we feel we are losing her. We are losing our sacred inheritance. And so we're asking many monks and nuns and lay friends who are practicing here at Deer Park how they are coping with their emotions of anxiety and fear around the climate crisis. And here we live in a beautiful valley, this natural environment with live oak, chaparral, with the rabbits and coyotes. And so every day we are nourished by our contact with nature. And this is an important part of transformation and healing. I love to go out in the mountain and find new trails, to breathe in the soil, the scent of the black sage and the earth. This is a kind of healing. I notice that if I'm just on email or on the internet or reading the news, I can feel more and more cut off from this sacred inheritance that is the flesh and bone of my body. And so how can I come back home to my body, come back home to Mother Earth? Well, I do it through the breathing and through contact with nature. Ever since I was a boy, I loved to go into the forest. I was lucky enough to live in a forest and on a river. And when things were not going well in the house, when there was an argument, I would usually try to go outside to the quiet of the forest and just, I didn't have the practice of following my breathing, being mindful of my breath, but I would just be there in the forest. Maybe I would light a little fire when I was a bit older. Something drew me, and I think something draws us, all of us, to the forest and to nature. And there I could touch peace. I could touch connection. I could feel connected. And in some way, within the house, I felt disconnected. There's so many things like music or video games or television that were just drawing me out of my body, drawing me out of the present moment. But in the forest, nothing was asking me to be not fully there. The trees, they are fully there. They are rooted in the ground. They are growing, moving slowly. Even though they look like they're static, but they're growing up, reaching their branches up into the sky with the leaves for the present moment sunlight. But we as human beings, we are delving deep into the earth to harvest the ancient sunlight of plants from tens of millions, hundreds of millions of years ago. So how can I ask myself, how can I come back to present moment sunlight? Like the trees, like the plants that are around me. Just living simply in the present moment with what resources that the sun offers, the earth offers. And then I feel a deep connection. I feel joy. So nature helps me to touch this joy which is already there within me and grow it. And following the breath is really key. So as a young boy, I didn't know about breathing meditation, but then As I grew older, I did running, and I loved to run in the forest. And that rhythm of my step with my breath started to take on importance, because if I wanted to run faster, I needed to be really living in the breath and living with my steps. And I often went into the forest to run because I love the uneven ground. I love the challenge of Mother Earth's natural shape. And then in my early 20s, when I felt disconnected, I felt I didn't want to go in the direction of a career that would just abuse the earth by the car that I drive, by the house that I build, by the family, by having the kids that are going to then also need resources. I thought, this is not what I want to do with my life. I want to learn to live simply, and so I discovered meditation. I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to live simply on the earth, as a monk. And we don't all have to become a monk or a nun, but we can learn how to live simply. We can, the model, as I see it, of a monk or a nun is there for us to see that joy is possible when we live simply on the earth. Because my brothers and sisters, the monastics, we let go of all these things that are offered to us from the ancient sunlight and the earth, the products and car, all the things that require us to burn more carbon. And we live, of course we also use carbon, but we live together as a community, so we try to reduce our impact. And by doing that, we find a way for all of humanity, as I see it. We try to find a way, how can we come back to this community life that is spiritually based, that is based in the breath, that is based in present moment awareness, and offer that to others. Offer us through our own practice, offer an experience or an environment where transformation and healing can take place, and where that community can grow and grow other communities of practice, so that through this movement we can begin to live more simply on the earth. And I really deeply, it's my deep insight that this is how we can move through this crisis. And we can find a way to have future generations who can enjoy the beauty of Mother Earth. It's not that it hasn't ever happened in the past where generations contemplated their demise, right? Empires have grown up and they've also collapsed. And we are living in a kind of global empire, and it's a normal way of operating, which is through extraction of resources, is no longer viable. It's going to start to find that there's a limit. And if there are people who know how to generate joy, then those people, they will do just fine. And so that is what we are hoping to transmit and to grow as much as possible. It doesn't mean you have to become a Buddhist, it doesn't mean you have to become a monk or a nun, but you can be inspired by this way of living, which is more simple. And the way to start is just to come back to your breath, wherever you are, just sitting there watching this video, and let go of all your thinking. Just be there with your body, be there with the breath. Feel the breath coming in and out. And when you can really do that, you see that joy is there. And what's most amazing is that there's no wanting. anything else. There's no lacking. There's nothing lacking. This is what we are, what humans are for. Just like the trees, just like the rabbits. And if we look deeply, actually our body can tell us what we're here for. But because of our attachments, we forget. We're pulled away. So the climate crisis is a crisis of the mind. Of course, it manifests at the level of CO2 and methane and so forth emitted in the atmosphere, but it's a crisis of our mind. It's a crisis of attachment and desire, and so we need to learn how to let go and see that everything that we need is already there. All the conditions that we need for happiness are right here in the present moment. And the best way to do that is to live in community, to come together, whether it's with your neighbors, whether it's with your extended family. Find ways to live together simply. And of course everyone, you're still going to have your dad want to watch sports on TV. You're still going to have people who go, in your family who go out and buy things that you don't need. So you practice patience and tolerance, because it's not easy to build a community. We have to be accepting and embracing, not dogmatic. The danger of a crisis like this that humanity is facing is that we fall into the past story of authoritarian control. And we need to do it together. We need to inspire others to do it together with us and see that it's for our own happiness and not try to force or condemn others. Because when we condemn, when we blame, we force them into a corner and they may do the opposite of what we wish. Just as a reaction to our need to control. So we need to learn how to live together with harmony. So that is where the mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of our emotions is so helpful. One of the greatest things we can do on this planet in this short life we have is to build community. And it's interesting, when you read the news, you don't hear much about community builders. But you learn a lot about people who are destroying communities and trying to control. But quietly, growing up everywhere, there are incredible community builders. And I think that you may be one of them. If you look in your heart, you see that you love to live together. And actually, we don't have much choice because there's not much more space on this earth. It's not easy to colonize another planet or the moon. And even if we do, if we don't know how to live together, then what good is it? We just create more wars for resources. So the insight of the Buddha is, how can we come back and live together in peace on the earth? So he made this amazing, incredible gesture when he woke up to the situation that happiness is available right here and right now. He reached down and touched the earth. Yeah. So there's no separation. That gesture of touching the earth says that there's no separation between the earth and human beings. There's no separation. The earth is a witness to this realization, this insight of no separation, of awakening. And there doesn't need to be anybody who writes it down or puts it up on social media. Just that gesture of touching the earth is enough to bear witness to this awakening to the present moment, to all the conditions of happiness which are already there in the present moment. I love thinking of the Buddha touching the earth like that. And I love to touch the earth to learn how to practice, to not see that this body is separate from the earth as we are used to believing, to let go of that barrier. And being aware of the breath, being aware of the body, being aware of the emotions helps to do that. We see that all of this is impermanent. We are born up from the earth and we go back to the earth. So we are a manifestation of Mother Earth. We are a child of the earth. And seeing that, it's so easy for us to fall in love with Mother Earth. Just like it's so easy to love our mother. For some of us, it might be difficult. We might have a difficult relationship with our mother. But yeah, we may have, if it's not our own mother, it's some other figure in our life who has cared for us, who has loved us without conditioning. And the earth has been like that. She doesn't demand very much from us. She only nurtures us and wants us to grow and learn. And that's why it's so easy to fall in love with Mother Earth. So every day can be, you can take a moment and practice falling in love with Mother Earth, with her beauty that is manifested along with the sun along with the light from the sun. The wind in the trees, the waters of the rivers and the oceans, the rains and the clouds. It's so beautiful. And when we do that every day, when we practice falling in love with Mother Earth every day, then the anxiety subsides. Because we see it's already enough. We know that human beings will not live forever on this planet. In the Buddhist tradition, we have a very early meditation where a practitioner goes to a charnel ground, which is where bodies were deposed after death. And not like today, where we bury the body in the ground, right, or burn it. And when you went to that place, which was usually far outside of a town, you could see the dead bodies over 1, 2, or 3 days becoming blue and festering, and then eventually all the flesh being eaten away or decaying, leaving only the bones. Then eventually the bones breaking down to dust. First the bones held together with sinews and blood, and then eventually the sinews gone, just the blood and the bones, and then the bones dry like the color of conch shells, and then eventually just the bones themselves breaking down back to dust into the earth. So this is a kind of visualization that we do in order to see that this body is also like that. It has that nature. It cannot escape that fate. And so that is not for the purpose of watering seeds of anxiety or fear, but that is the purpose for understanding the nature of our body. And the same is true of the nature of the body of humanity. We see that it is also impermanent. And we may be a little bit attached to the spring, right, where things are growing and new and flourishing and thriving. But the spring cannot happen without the death of the fall and things going back to the earth, revitalizing themselves. So our teacher often taught that we need to be able to see human civilization also collapsing, and breathe with that. Like really meditate on our governments, our institutions collapsing. And what does that mean? If there are food shortages, if maybe when you flip the switch there's no electricity anymore, people are gathering in places to find clean water to drink. That's not for the sake of watering seeds of fear, but for the sake of understanding that just as our ancestors did, we may also have to do in the future. And so this life we have created for ourselves is just like snapping my fingers in the time of history. And yet, with very simple modes of living, our ancestors have survived in the past. And so just like meditating on the corpse that is dying and passing away, we can also meditate on humanity. Because we know that humanity cannot live forever. And knowing that, we know better how to make use of this present moment. The urgency of this moment manifests. And we can see what we need to do. Each of us in their place. What you need to do may not be exactly what I need to do. Right? You have your own insight. There's millions of people around the planet working to help create a beautiful future on this planet Earth for our children, for our grandchildren. And we have confidence in that they are doing their best. And so we also, taking care of our emotions, coming back to the present moment, we also know how to do our best, right where we are, without being dogmatic, without blaming or condemning, but learning how to build communities, resilient communities that live simply on the earth in beauty and freedom. And of course, in the Plum Village tradition, we are all here to help. I see, as a monk, my role is to take care of my emotions around the climate crisis so I can help other people to take care of their emotions. And that's what I try to do every day. And I also can learn to live more simply as a monk. I can learn to better cherish the present moment of Mother Earth. So there are many things I can do right where I am. And so I ask you to look and see, what can you do? We have many resources available, like the Earth Holders community, earthholder.training. The website has a beautiful Earth Peace Treaty where we can make commitments in our life to act in a way that is helping future generations to live more beautifully, in more peace and happiness on the earth. There's community. There are people who really want to help. If we connect, that is the important thing. We need to connect with each other, reach out to each other through the internet, through email, messages, create one beautiful idea the Earth Holder community has here is called MAPS, which is to create small groups of people who are checking in with each other so that we do not fall into paralysis and despair around the climate crisis, but we learn to nourish each other, to build community in small groups, reach out to each other so that we can do our work with ease and freedom. And I think that's a wonderful approach. There's a new book, Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet, which has these teachings that I spoke of by our teacher, and many other resources available. So we are not alone. Mother Earth is with us in every moment. Thank you. And we are here for you at Deer Park. So if you can, if you're nearby, please come and visit. and do the good work where you are. We are here for you, and we know that you are there for us. Thank you.